Ready? Okay. We will open the city council regular meeting Tuesday, September 1st. I need approval of the agenda.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Yes?
Yes.
Okay. Now we need consideration for the minutes of August 4th and August 11th.
Does anybody have any changes? I move we approve the meetings, the minutes of the meetings from August 4th and August 11th work session.
I second it. All in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. At this point, we can open our public comment. Did hear Mary Beth was, asked online. We start with Mary Beth.
Hi,
Okay, Mary Beth.
it's Mary Beth Cottle. I live at 131 Ross Lane in Cannon Beach. And I've got everything on different computer screens, so I wanted to address Resolution 2026. When I read it, I thought, well, this is nice that we're doing this. But as I thought about it, I had some other thoughts about it. It's a lovely first step. And right now, this weekend, we are facing a rally in Seaside of, for want of a better word, alt-right protesters against the Black Lives Matter movement. The call went out for all men of Clatsop County to come with their firearms to take back the streets. I'm very concerned about this. And Resolution 2026 is lovely sentiment, but it does not make a strong statement condemning the actions that have sparked the need for the Black Lives Matter protests. And it doesn't make a strong statement saying Black Lives Matter. Until Black Lives Matter, we can't say any lives really matter. So I want to leave that with a quote, and it's one that you may recognize. It's by John Stuart Mills in 1867. Bad men need nothing more to compass their ends than that good men should look on and do nothing. I want to encourage the city of Cannon Beach to come out and make a really strong statement that we will not tolerate any of these actions that have created I'm not saying this well, and I apologize. I'm very emotional about it. Any of the actions that have created the climate that requires Black Lives Matter movement to exist. So I would encourage the city council to consider making a strong statement that we will not tolerate that kind of action or support anyone who would create that kind of a climate of fear for any of our residents. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mary Beth. Okay, I guess I'll go to the room, see if anybody here would like to make a comment. Name and address.
My name's, excuse me, Joanne Kramer, and I live at 788 South Hemlock here in Cannon Beach. I would like to address the garbage issue in the community. I know that a lot of people have talked about it, and one of my suggestions, I walked the beach early this morning, and I was amazed at how clean it actually looked. And one of my suggestions would be to put out more garbage cans. I don't know if that's available or what? I know you can't answer me, but anyhow, that's one of my suggestions. Also, what I'd like to bring up is the parking issue in town here, which we all know is pretty severe. A couple weeks ago down on Spruce Street, both sides of the street had parked cars. And so basically, one car could hardly get through. Once again, another suggestion would be, you know, you've got this parking lot out here. Is it feasible at all to make a parking structure there and charge people, you know, to park there for the day? I see you smile at me, Dale. Anyhow, these are just all suggestions, you know, things that I've thought about for years. And, that, you know, it really wouldn't obstruct anybody's view. And, so it's just a thought. And then this could be done now. The parking signs that say no parking on the side streets, most of them aren't sandwiched. They don't have a sign on the front or the back. They have one on one side. And many times, I work in the yard maintenance industry, and I told people, whoa, you can't park there, you're gonna get a ticket, because they can't see when they park going a certain direction, that sign on the other side says no parking from here to corner. And I don't think it would take much to just sandwich two signs together, and it might create, you know, people not parking where they shouldn't be. So, anyhow, thank you very much, and those are some of my thoughts.
Thank you, Joanne.
Courtney Banks, 155 Elliott Way. I'm with Joanne, and maybe the suggestion, besides adding just more garbage cans, would be put them on the beach, if that's, or close to like the number signs that identify where you are on the Strand. So it's already kind of like somewhere where we would be able to pick up with a truck early in the morning or late at night. But I know that garbage has been an issue, and I was out super early actually today too, and last night, and I think it is just a suggestion, but extra garbage cans somewhere would be kind of an easy fill for that. So, thank you.
Mhm.
I'm Gracia, 384 Sunset Boulevard. Quickly on the garbage issue, we're doing on social media communication about where we cleaned up and what's needed next. And I think it's like Garbage Busters, what is it called?
Litter busters.
We're communicating with them and, Saul, and we're out cleaning up a lot. And so, is there a dumpster we can use when we get done with the garbage stuff?
If we know that you're doing the cleanup, it might be possible for us to just have you leave it at a location,
Okay,
come and pick it up.
please.
Just has to be coordinated. And, to your point, the, more cans, what we try to do is pick up the locations that are there now multiple times a day. So,
Well, it's still really hard, so I have a 7-month-old, and it would be hard I feel like the tourists have a hard time with all of their gear that they're taking to the beach, bringing up everything. And so if you bring it closer to them, then it's easier for them to make that, like, transition of just dumping off the trash and then heading up on the beach. And I guess that's my only caveat of putting them on the beach. I know they're kind of an eyesore on the beach, but it also cleans your beach. I don't know,
Yeah.
something,
Rip Show, putting anything on the beach,
yeah,
weather and, tides and things, so.
yeah.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you there.
Yeah, so we'll try to communicate where places are being cleaned up, because we have a lot in the grass. And if we can get in, that grass is a collection site, so if we say, okay, we just clean up here, everybody can coordinate who did what, I think we can, handle it pretty well. So, anyway, I wasn't supposed to talk about that, I did. Because we've been out, my husband is like really good at this, okay, he picked up a lot of garbage. Including mine, anyway, the students. So, the fireworks, you've all got my paper on that, so, and I'm gonna be the mother of that, okay, so I'm gonna mother over it, and with Jason, I hope I can work with Jason, too. Enforcement is my big, worry, and I just heard from, he's lived here for how many years, and it was supposed to be enforced and never was, right? That was what he said. Anyway, that's what he said. So that concerns me, I don't want to see that happen, I won't let it happen, and I think the biggest key is education, and so that we don't have to do the police force, if we get the education, the word out. So Bruce has been really good about working with me on this, and so if I can do the social media dance, I get a lot of word out there, and if I can, depending on how it's voted tonight, get the word out when you think we should do the media. But I don't think we should wait till, January 1st. I think it needs to be a continual affirmation to people, to ban fireworks, if that's what we're doing. And I'll take that on with social media, because I have key people all over, point people that are connect to 2,000 other people, and 2,000 other people, and 2,000 other people, so I can get the word out all over. So I'll take that on. I just, and I don't really have to do that in coordination with you, do I?
As long as it doesn't involve the city, committing the city to, city forces to anything.
Right, I'm just gonna be a communicator.
Huh?
Okay, so I just kinda wanna know, cause I wanna make sure I know what my boundaries are, and you gotta start talking to me more about, my boundaries if I'm doing something that you don't want, please tell me, like Nancy told me something, you need to educate me, because I have not been educated in this environment. And I wanna work with, to enhance your life and make candidates better. And we're very committed to being here, so I just want you to know that. And, I know that Jason's got a truckload on his plate. So, so anyway, and I really, wanna help prevent us meeting him, is what I wanna do. That's the goal. That's all I have to say, because I'm not already.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ted.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay, then, we're good. Thank you very much for those who spoke. I meant to do this at the opening. I've kind of created a habit or something that I probably wish I hadn't started, but we have lost another couple, actually, of residents in this past week. Van, didn't have a chance to mention him. It happened a couple of weeks ago. But the one that also happened, kind of a shock to me, because I knew Gary very well. We lost Gary Moon. Just want to let everybody know and feel that we're feeling for John and Steve. City. Okay, now we can move on to our first topic, the ordinance for the fireworks. Who's introducing? Bruce?
Yes, I'll ask, Emily Matasser, who is working with Barry Elsner, that, did the, ordinance for us. And then after, she's done, we can ask any questions we have, either of her, Ashley, or Judy. So, could you walk us through the, ordinance, please, Emily?
Yes. Oh, go ahead,
Bruce,
Ashley.
Can I take a minute to introduce Emily really quickly to the city council?
That would be good.
Emily is the newest attorney in our office. We are absolutely delighted to have her. She most recently worked in the grounds office, so most particularly on public records. but she's done some really great work for a lot of our clients, including Cannon Beach. She was very excited to work on this fireworks ordinance and asked lots of good questions, and I think did an excellent job. So you're going to see her face quite a bit more. She's going to be helping me with Cannon Beach. So this is her first time presenting to you guys, so I wanted to take a moment to introduce her.
Welcome, Emily.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here. Okay, so in a series of council meetings and work sessions, the council discussed and the public discussed fireworks. And so that's what our ordinance is on today. Currently, the state law bans aerial fireworks and what are sometimes referred as sky lanterns or floating lanterns. In addition, the Cannon Beach Code currently bans all fireworks, including state legal ones that are technically legal under state fireworks law, on the ocean shore. So this ordinance, if adopted, would amend the code to ban all fireworks anywhere in Cannon Beach and increase the fines for any use of fireworks and for sky lanterns. The fines escalate depending on the grade of the firework or lantern, and then also the fire threat level at the time of the violation. And that's depending on the if it's determined to be a fire season or a high threat fire threat outside of fire season by an agency with specialized fire knowledge. So the fine scheme that's proposed has an escalating scale. So a level 1 violation is for smaller fireworks, novelty fireworks, poppers, sparklers, small fireworks. And the maximum fine for that level 1 violation is $100 per violation. Level 2 violation are for the bigger fireworks that aren't aerial, so that stay on the ground for the most part, but have more explosive power than the ones in the level 1. And the maximum fine for that would be, for a level 2 violation, would be $1,000 per violation. Then the highest fine is reserved for aerial fireworks and sky lanterns, which are already illegal under state law, and that would be a maximum fine of up to $5,000. And the fine is enhanced where the fire threat level is determined to be high at the time of the violation. So a level 1 violation in high fire season becomes a level 2 violation, etc., with the maximum still being $5,000. We've included another option for, rather than just a maximum, a range of fines. So that would impose a minimum and a maximum for each level. And if you choose to go with that option, then you'll have to amend the ordinance as it is now or come back later. So the staff recommendation is as it exists currently for maximum. So are there any questions?
I'll start with one question. This says, an exhibit, Cannon Beach City Council Appeals, 040, all the way down, to ban all fireworks within the Cannon Beach city limits. My understanding is that the beach, since that's not technically in the city limits, would this cover the beach also? Or does the beach one that currently exists stay in place? My understanding is that still allows the level 1 stuff.
Fireworks are not allowed on the beach.
At all, even the sparkler level stuff?
And they work with every city to, if they want to enforce legal fireworks or whatnot, they'll stand behind the city.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that they were, the two ordinances were, the two, okay. That works. I have a question or maybe a comment. Exhibit B. It's Exhibit B, paragraph 916-020. We're giving the definitions. And in the definition of fireworks, it lists a very extensive description of all the various fireworks, and it says, at the end of it, it says, that it includes the following, and covers all these. I just think it ought to be, includes but is not limited to the following. Somebody's always gonna come up with something and says, oh, that's not on your list. So, that's just a suggestion if we do another draft. The, other comment deals with the, novelty, and trick noisemakers. I have concern that somebody's having a birthday, they've got a cake, sparkler candles on it, and everybody's happy until Jason shows up, puts them in handcuffs and hauls them away.
And eats all the cake.
Take it, taken into evidence.
So, and as I went down through there, I just thought, you know, these don't seem to be the kind of fireworks, that are gonna start forest fires or a house fire, you know, a party popper. And maybe I'm sensitive to this because at Christmas time, we use the old-fashioned, Christmas, crackers. And they are poppers, and I would be subject to a fine. We do keep it in our house, we don't do it outside. So anyway, I guess I'd like to have some discussion as to whether we should have an exception to the novelties and trick noisemakers as being outside the realm of illegal fireworks. Do you have any thoughts on that?
You can get, crackers that don't have any charges in them.
They don't have what?
Any charges in them. They work just with friction.
Okay, I haven't seen a cigarette load for a long time. But there are the trick matches, and we already put an exception for these small, handheld, sparklers that don't contain a certain material. So there's already an exception for one of these, novelty, fireworks. Because under paragraph 4, the sparklers are exempted in section 1. So, there's a conflict there. It's either they are subject to penalties or they are accepted. And it seems a bit inconsistent here. I guess I would prefer to see, let me go one more point there. That we identified all these devices by the size, you know, up to, but nowhere did we say devices larger than these defined fireworks. We say they're not fireworks. We shouldn't say they're not fireworks, but explosive devices are not permitted under any circumstance. Maximum fines will be levied. If we, in identifying all the fireworks, we didn't eliminate stick of dynamite, for instance. I think there ought to be this, I'd put in a paragraph F, saying that devices larger than defined fireworks are not fireworks. So,
Things like that are usually classified under state law as destruction devices, and fit under that. That includes like seal bombs and that type of thing.
Yeah, M80s, but it seems like, to me, an M80 is still a firecracker. And we've identified fines for, this firework is up to this size. But as soon as somebody starts building bigger ones, our ordinance doesn't say those are illegal also. So I think I just prefer to see one more statement put in here that larger than these are not fireworks, but they're explosive or incendiary devices and are also illegal. I don't know if you hear that or not. So I guess I'm just asking everybody, how do you feel about citing a kid that's throwing one of these little poppers down on the street, pops? And you're not going to arrest them, you're not going to fine them, so why not make it exist? And maybe I'm wrong, maybe you are going to arrest them and fine them. I don't think so.
Only if cake is involved.
Yeah, so.
I would support that. And I do like the idea of adding something that, it says up in fireworks definition, any serpents or any other article of light construction or any article containing any explosive or inflammable compound, that kind of covers those unusual things, but I would like to repeat that, the way Mike was saying.
Mayor, can I make it?
Who's that?
That was Ashley. Yeah, can I make a suggestion? I think this is what Councilor Benefield was saying, but we could add language, that's not supposed to be an exhaustive list of what qualifies as a firework. So at the end of it, we could say including but not limited to emphasize that, as you pointed out, the definition of firework is more general. And then this is a list of common fireworks, but doesn't necessarily intend to capture all of them.
Yeah.
And then one other comment about the poppers. I think some of the conversation was, first fire danger, but also litter and noise with people with PTSD. So I think when we were drafting this, we were looking at both fire danger and some of the other, more nuisance elements to some of these things. So I just wanted to point that out, that was part of the discussion.
Well, I guess I would see in this in party novelties and trick noisemakers, two different categories. One, sort of the old auto burglar alarm, it's called. Those things whistle, they're loud, and they're obnoxious. I would see those being made illegal and not exempt. I certainly know these snappers leave a lot of tissue paper type trash on the streets. There's no doubt about that. But I guess my bigger concern is the party poppers, the sparkling candles, the trick candles. It just seems like those really warrant an ordinance to be banned from the city. The only one I see there that I personally find very objectionable is under the small letter E, auto burglar alarm. They loud and obnoxious. Trick match, a cigarette load, booby trap. I guess that's still a popper. String actuator, party popper. I'm not sure. Oh, the trick noisemakers. I'm not sure exactly what that is. Well, we identify them. The smoke device, they're obnoxious, but I don't think they're fire hazard. I suppose it depends on where you're using them. Anyway, I just felt that it was overly restrictive, and I want this to be accepted, a total ban on fireworks, and I don't want people using the extreme, restriction as a reason to make light of it. Say, here we go, Cannon Beach. Make an exception for these very innocuous novelty type noisemakers. So,
Okay,
I guess I could make an amendment, propose an amendment here before we take a vote. But, I'd feel like there's some consensus.
Actually, I like the list the way it is.
You-
It's very clear, it's not allowed on the beach, it's not allowed in the city. I think that way no one has any, I mean, it took you a while to go through the thing and go kind of, if this, if that. If it's clear, then it's done.
Yeah, and I think I said the same thing first time we talked about this. It's, so you start having exceptions, you get into trying to define, well, I thought that was an exception. I guess I'd just like to see Jason be a little kinder to the kids that violate the law. Oh, yeah, he's not his head.
Hey, Jason.
I can't see his expression because he's masked, so I'm not sure whether he's serious or not.
He liked that mask.
I mean, I won't make the amendment if it's not likely to be accepted, but. Okay, any other comments?
I feel like if you start carving out exceptions, then where do you stop? So, my inclination is to leave it as it is.
okay. Any other points?
Well, I like the idea of, including the word, includes the following, but is not limited to, or whatever the language was suggested.
Okay then, so we have does everybody have a cheat sheet? I have a cheat sheet. Anybody want a motion on this?
Mayor, I'm not sure if the council was clear. Are we doing a motion to amend the ordinance to include, including but not limited to? If we are, that would just be an amendment first. And then, if that passes, then we would vote on the ordinance as amended. But if you're not interested in that, we can just go right to the cheat sheet. Oh. Actually, I might be wrong about that. Yep.
Do we do the amendment first, or do we
You're doing an amendment first.
I move that we amend ordinance, number 20-18 to include the language of, I guess it would be on 9.16.020 definitions, to include, to say, includes the following, but is not limited to.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion to include some language. I'll do a roll call on this one, Jenny.
Council President Benefield.
Yes.
Councilor Ridley.
Yes.
Councilor Ogilvie.
Yes.
Councilor McCarthy.
Yes.
Mayor Seidel.
Yes. Now, Ashley, do we need to wait for a upgraded ordinance, or can we vote on the ordinance as amended?
You can vote on it as amended. I'm sorry, I led you astray, Mayor. How I have your cheat sheet laid out is that we do the first reading and then do amendments. Either way is fine, but the confusion is my fault. So you can just move to approve the first reading, and then if that passes, go to the second reading.
Great, okay. Back to the formality.
I move to approve the first reading of ordinance number 20-18.
Second?
You read it, or are you gonna read it?
I'll read it. Ordinance, ordinance 28-18, an ordinance amending the municipal code section 9.08.40 and chapter 916 to prohibit all fireworks within city limits and increasing fines. Any discussion?
One piece, Mayor, as amended.
As
We already
amended, thank you. Thank you, got to note that. Okay, take a roll call then.
Councilor Risley?
Yes.
Councilor Ogilvy?
Yes.
Councilor McCarthy?
Yes.
Council President Beneville?
Yes,
Mayor Snyder?
Yes. That's unanimous, so we can,
I'll move to approve the second reading and adopt ordinance 20-18 for the purpose of amending the municipal code 9.08.040 and chapter 9.16 to prohibit all fireworks within the city limits and increasing fines,
Second?
as amended.
okay, second. Ordinance 20-18, an ordinance amending the municipal code section 9.08.040 and chapter 916 to prohibit all fireworks within the city limits and increasing fines as amended. Any discussion? Nope. Roll call.
Councilor Ogilvy?
Yes.
Councilor McCarthy?
Yes.
Council President Beneville?
Yes,
Councilor Risley? Yes. Mayor Snyder?
Yes. Ordinance 20-18 has been adopted and
Good job.
oh. Yeah. Done that part. Next item is a resolution for the purpose of affirming a welcoming and inclusive city. Who is introducing this?
I'll introduce it. This is, similar to the, resolution that was adopted by Manzanita. And, there were some comments tonight about, possibly adding other elements. So you will need to, provide some guidance on that.
Page isn't quite coming up for some reason. Okay,
this is very similar to the resolution we did about a year ago, inclusive city,
Possibly.
but I think there's some differences.
my sense is that this is a positive, statement that has, expands upon what we've done before. I like the idea of making this kind of statement today. It doesn't preclude us from making another statement that has more specific, message to, I guess, a part of this, but also more direct to a different topic. So I have no problem with proceeding with this resolution.
I would agree. I agree with the earlier statements and its necessity, its importance. I also feel there's, in this world, in this day and age, it tends to have a political message, and I think we need to avoid, as a non-political council, we should avoid making those political statements. And right now, it shouldn't be, but it is a political statement to include the more specifics. So I would prefer to stick with this resolution, but recognize that there's much more behind this than just the words.
Mr. Mayor, when we, with everything going on, we looked at what, Manzanita had done, and as you said, this is a positive message. And in looking at some of the other things that could have been said, and us being, a city and community leaders, it was awful easy to get into criticizing other people that have First Amendment rights, even though we really can't stand the way they're doing it. And so I want to be careful, and again, if you want to get stronger, we can, but, we stay positive with this. But I don't think that, in encouraging people to act respectfully, all those kind of things, I think that we're covering it, but we're not, going after anybody because we don't agree with their methods, as opposed to their message.
I agree about not becoming political. That wasn't our role coming into this. So I think it's very nicely put.
Okay, appropriate motion then. Did cooperate.
Well, I move to, do we adopt resolution?
Yes.
I move that the council adopt resolution number 2026 for the purpose of affirming a welcoming and inclusive state.
I second it.
Discussion? Jennifer?
Councilor McCarthy?
Yes.
Council President Benefield?
Yes.
Councilor Risley?
Yes.
Councilor Ogilvy?
Yes.
Mayor Sytle?
Yes. Okay, this isn't really a proclamation, but I would read it, but my gizmo is blocking half of it, so
Would you like to read it, Sam?
I can give you a hard copy.
I can. No, I don't want to, but I will. Resolution 20-6, whereas the city of Cannon Beach is striving to become increasingly welcoming, inclusive, representative, and responsive to historically underrepresented and underserved communities. And whereas the city of Cannon Beach, its mayor, city council, chief of police, Cannon Beach Police Department, and all city staff are deeply saddened by the tragic events that continue to occur across our country. Whereas racism and hate have no place in Cannon Beach, and we are committed to working actively against all forms of racism and injustice. We are committed to ensuring that the constitutional rights of every person who lives, works, and visits our great city are protected. Whereas the mayor and city council support the Cannon Beach Police Department and its continuing commitment to fight against racism and treat everyone with respect and dignity, regardless of race, creed, religion, sexual orientation, or color. Whereas the mayor and city council of the city of Cannon Beach, Oregon, stand steadfast with the residents of Cannon Beach against racism and reaffirm the city's commitment to fighting for racial justice and human and civil rights for all. Whereas the mayor, city council, the Cannon Beach Police Department, and all city staff are committed to engaging in continuing communication and dialogue with the community to address issues of systemic racism and intolerance and their impact on individuals and on the community as a whole. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Common Council of the City of Cannon Beach that the City Council reaffirms its commitment to valuing diversity, equity, and inclusion by providing stability, opportunity, safety, and justice for everyone living, working, and visiting the city. The City Council embraces, welcomes, and celebrates all individuals and commit to provide safe community for everyone, regardless of their immigration status, for the collective prosperity of the city. The City Council commits to continuing to work to eliminate racial disparities and other forms of discrimination and ensure that every Cannon Beach resident has the opportunity to thrive. The City Council reaffirms its commitment to establishing trust. The City Council reaffirms its commitment to the city government's core values of service, professionalism, integrity, respect, and individual accountability and trust. The city council directs staff to continue to respectfully serve all regardless of race, color, national origin, immigration status, ethnicity, primary language, religion, sex, gender, gender identity, and expression, sexual orientation, marital status, familiar status, mental, emotional, and/or physical ability, age, or economic status. Passed by the Common Council of the City of Cannon Beach this first day of September 2020 by the following roll call vote. And it was all yours, no nays.
Thank you. Okay, we'll move on to our next item. Consideration of proclamation for the National Hispanic Heritage Month. I see that Diana Nino is, yeah,
Y'all voted?
we did that before we.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Yeah. So, do we want Diana to make a statement or a comment? Does Diana want to?
Is she online?
Nodding her head?
Can you hear us, Diana?
There we are.
Yes, thank you so much, and thank you for unmuting me, and thank you for having us. I don't know if I should make the comment now or after you read the proclamation.
Well, you're online now, go ahead.
Now.
Okay, so good evening, everybody. Buenas tardes. My name is Diana Nino. I am a volunteer and outreach coordinator for the Hispanic Council, which is now named Consejo Hispano. But most of all, I'm a member of the Hispanic community, and I'm an immigrant myself, and I also reside here in Clatsop County and in Cannon Beach. And so I would just like to thank the city of Cannon Beach, its city councilors, and Mayor Steidel for the proclamation on Hispanic Heritage Month. So I would like to thank all of you on behalf of the Hispanic community in Cannon Beach and its neighboring cities. We appreciate all initiatives of inclusiveness and respect and cultural appreciation. So thank you, for doing this for our community and also for the city. And we welcome any questions or comments, anything that you have about this Hispanic Heritage Month. I am here for you.
Thank you.
Questions for Diana?
Thank you very much.
Okay, then, we need a motion.
I move to adopt Proclamation 2006 declaring September 15th through October 15th as National Hispanic Heritage Month in Cannon Beach.
Second?
Seconded? Jennifer?
Council President Benefield?
Yes?
Councilor Ridley?
Yes.
Councilor Ogilvy?
Yes.
Councilor McCarthy?
Yes.
Mayor Steidel?
Yes. And I think I can read this one as long as I don't touch this thing. For the purpose of designating September 15th to October 15th, 2020 as National Hispanic Heritage Month in the city of Cannon Beach. Whereas the period from September 15th through October 15th has been set aside throughout the United States as National Hispanic Heritage Month, and whereas the term Hispanic or Latino refers to a person of Cuban, Mexican, Puerto Rican, South or Central American, or other Spanish culture or origin who can be of any race, any ancestry, or any ethnicity, and whereas the United States has always drawn its strength from the contributions of a diverse people, and whereas National Hispanic Heritage Month is a time to recognize the contributions made and the important presence of Hispanic and Latino Americans to the United States. And whereas Hispanic Americans have played a prominent and important role in our national heritage, and our Hispanic American residents lift up our communities and our economy as entrepreneurs, executives, and small business owners. And whereas a significant segment of the more than 40,000 people living in Clatsop County are Hispanic. And whereas we honor the rich heritage of our Hispanic community, be it resolved that I, Sam Seidel, by virtue of the authority vested in me and as mayor of the city of Cannon Beach in the state of Oregon, do hereby proclaim the month of September 15th through October 15th as National Hispanic Heritage Month in Cannon Beach, and call upon all public officials, educators, and residents to observe this month with appropriate ceremonies, activities, and programs as they to share in this special annual tribute by learning and celebrating the generations of Hispanic and Latino Americans who have positively influenced and enriched our nation and society. Passed by the Common Council of the City of Cannon Beach, this day, first day of September. Thank you. Need to practice my reading. Okay. Next item. Consideration of Proclamation 207, Domestic Violence Awareness Month. Do we have anybody? That would be.
So, what you have in front of you tonight is the police department in the harbor, is requesting that the council adopt a proclamation to encourage all Cannon Beach residents to join in the observance of Domestic Violence Awareness Month. The harbor, which was previously known as the Women's Resource Center, responds to thousands of crisis calls yearly and provides shelter bed nights for hundreds of women and children. The calls concern domestic violence, sexual assault, stalking, and other issues. They provide services to all and assisted Cannon Beach residents. Murders, suicides, and suicides related to domestic violence continue to fill the news. Too many Oregonians have died in situations connected with domestic violence. The victims include women, men, and children in communities across the state.
Thank you. Years ago, so it's good. Need a motion?
I move to adopt Proclamation 20-07, proclaiming October 2020 as Domestic Violence Awareness Month in Cannon Beach.
Second.
Seconded. Comments? Jennifer?
Councilor Ripley?
Yes.
Councilor Ogilvie?
Yes.
Councilor McCarthy?
Yes.
Council President Benito?
Yes.
Mayor Snyder?
Yes. Is there somebody who'd like to read this one? Nancy?
Whereas the first Domestic Violence Month was observed in October 1987, the same year that saw the initiation of the first National Domestic Violence Toll-Free Hotline, and in 1989, Congress designated October as National Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And whereas domestic violence is a pattern of assaultive and coercive behaviors, including physical, psychological, sexual, and economic abuse, social isolation, and stalking, that are used to maintain power and control over a person's intimate partner. And whereas the crime of domestic violence violates an individual's dignity, safety, and basic human rights, and whereas domestic violence is the single largest cause of injury and homicide for women, and whereas children exposed to domestic violence experience terror, isolation, guilt, helplessness, and grief, and have a higher risk of engaging in criminal behavior and substance abuse and becoming victims of crime, and whereas domestic violence is the single largest cause of injury and homicide for women, and whereas domestic violence impacts the health and well-being of our community, and whereas it is incumbent on every citizen to play a role in preventing and ending domestic violence, now therefore be it resolved that the Common Council of the City of Cannon Beach hereby adopts that October 2020 to be Domestic Violence Awareness Month in the City of Cannon Beach, and encourage all Cannon Beach residents to join in this observance. Passed by the Common Council of the City of Cannon Beach this first day of September 2020, by the following roll call, which results in.
Thank you. Nicely done. We'll move on to our next item. Action item, Tolovana Hall lease.
Yes, sir, that, information is in your packet. We did make, modifications, Councilman McCarthy's suggestion that we coordinate the Cannon Beach Academy and the Tolovana Arts Colony leases, so that if there is any, movement across the street, or, coordination, that we would be involved in those discussions. And the, Cannon Beach Elementary lease has been signed. He gave us that responsibility. And, Andrew Tonry is on the phone, online with us tonight if you have any questions.
Any questions on the lease?
I think that change covered.
Yeah, I think it takes care of my concerns,
Good. Andrew, do you have anything? You there? Is Andrew Tonry on?
Hey, everybody, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Here we are.
Oh, you hear me?
I have nothing to say, but thank you. Assuming we're all on the same page.
We haven't approved it yet.
Well, I feel like, you might mute me afterwards, so I just wanted to say it.
Okay.
No, I have nothing really to add other than, we especially appreciate it, especially during, a difficult time, and the next, 6 months to a year to who knows how long could be very difficult. So we appreciate the support.
Okay, I've lost my thing, so I don't really need a motion on this, don't we? Do we?
I think we need to authorize city manager to
The
sign.
motion is signed.
Thank you.
I'll make a motion to authorize city manager to sign the lease, Tolovana Hall.
Second? Oh, go ahead.
Councilor Ogilvy?
Yes.
Councilor McCarthy?
Yes.
Council President Benefield?
Yes.
Councilor Risley?
Yes.
Mayor Sedell?
Yes. Okay, now we get to our last item. Consideration of appointing to the Tourism and Arts Commission. I believe, folks, not here. Greg?
Greg is here.
Hey, Greg. Is Sue on the line?
No, she had a personal matter come up, and so she's not able to be
Okay.
online or here.
If you want to make any statements, you don't have to, but
No, I really don't have any statements, I just enjoy the sound and want to be a part of it.
we have two applicants for
One seat.
so we need to do a proper election.
The ballot?
to have a ballot?
I put it in the packet, and I don't think about you guys were doing electronic, sorry about that.
Yeah.
Let me go make copies real quick, I'll leave right back.
Okay.
Oh, we'll play the tack music or something.
4-minute interlude.
Else we could cover during the
No, unless you want to talk about some status.
staff report.
The only thing I would, just for a kind of heads up for us, is, Rick and I have been working with the CERT team. We've got some stuff planned for this coming month and leading into October. Might be, will be published on the city calendar.
Looks like there's a lot.
Yeah. So, we will be doing.
Thank you, Jen.
Okay. pass them down. There it is.
Where's my cat?
Okay, just read the results.
Yeah.
Okay. There were 4 votes for Greg and 1 vote for Sue.
There we go, Greg.
Thank you.
You're it.
Congratulations.
Great.
Mr. Mayor, can I,
You're gonna be busy.
if I can just say something about Greg? He is the owner of the surf shop across the street. And when we were having troubles with, renting out and, managing the whole process of the beach wheelchairs, I went over and talked to him, and it took about 25 to 30 seconds before he said yes, and then started talking about all of his ideas about what we could do. And so, he took what used to be a problem for us, and now he manages everything, stores them, maintains them, keeps all the records, everything. So he's making that go. And we've been in conversations with, what do they call the surfers?
Yeah, we've got a couple of different surfers that we're, as far as the adaptive surfing,
Yes.
yeah, I wanna bring in the adaptive surfing so we can actually get people with handicaps and military, non-military kids, out in the ocean.
Yeah, and he and Gabe, who works with them,
Can I add something to
Sure.
it as well? These chairs are rather expensive, and we work a lot, and this isn't my first campaign for, getting, handicapped people in the water. And, there's actually devices out there like, basically tank trip type chairs. Have you seen those?
Yeah.
They actually will go vertical. And we're actually in negotiations right now. I believe the chairs we have now are like about $5,000 a piece. For another 3, we could have something that actually people could drive themselves. You know what I mean? So that's, this is things I'd like to talk about. Yeah, it's really good stuff, really good stuff.
We appreciate what you've been doing.
Yeah.
I like the way,
I appreciate it. I'm privileged to do it. Thank you. I was honored when he asked me.
I like the way you think.
And
Thanks, Greg.
Thank you.
to make this official, we need a motion to appoint the applicant.
I make a motion to appoint Greg Allen to the Tourism and Arts Commission.
Seconded. Jennifer?
Councilor McCarthy?
Yes.
Council President Benefield?
Yes.
Councilor Ripley?
Yes.
Councilor Ogilvy?
Yes.
Mayor Snyder?
Yes. Okay, that concludes that part, and I will continue to mention my CERT thing, because I believe the 11th, we have a CERT team social event. I think it's on the 18th. Don't write this down, but it's on the calendar, but I think it's on the 18th, we have a public event. We're hoping to be able to use, NACUS. It's gonna be outdoors. Something that will allow folks to come and learn how to put together go bags and talk about kits and preparedness in a general sense. We're still kind of formalizing how this is gonna work, so, stay tuned. Also, in October, the Great Shakeout happens on the 15th, and we will be doing a cash site opening for those folks who have their barrels stored and they would like to do some rehab on the barrels or entering a new one and that kind of stuff, and that I believe it'll be on the 17th. I think that's a Saturday. But again, check the calendar, double check me. Thank you. Anybody have anything else?
Yes, one thing, I noticed, was that there was a setup for, a sale going on outside. So I called Bruce and I asked him about it, and I think Jeff went over and checked on it. But I just wanna ask everyone here, if you think, that it's appropriate during emergency declaration to have outdoor merchandising. I think we've kind of addressed that, and I feel that this is very close to that. So I'm wanting to hear if
people feel that way too.
And can I add something to that, Robin?
Yes.
When we looked at the language for garage sales, it was quite vague. You could pretty much do it, you know, you're supposed to do it at your house or anywhere else. You know, it was kind of that language. So, we may want to tighten that up, anyway. Because it's administered by staff, and so without anything, any direction to the contrary, it's pretty easy to get that permit and go on. So that's something we might talk about.
I have a question about that. Well, first of all, we add that to Jeff's long list of ordinance revisions. But, when somebody wants to have a garage sale, who do they get the permit? How do they get it?
Fine. There's a form, and they fill it out, and
So there's a form at City Hall.
we have it. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to hijack your discussion, Robin.
No, I just thought right now with the emergency declaration that a gathering outside where people were together and touching things back and forth, that maybe that wasn't this isn't the right time for that. And maybe garage sales should be put on hold during the duration, which I guess has just been extended today, 60 more days.
I suspect we're gonna have a lot more garage sales because people have time to go and start cleaning out their garage, their storage areas. I guess they can maintain the distancing, number of people, it's okay, but I don't know.
We
Who's
did
policing
vote on
that?
no retail.
Well, that's the whole thing. Is a garage sale retail sale, or is it only if it's in a commercial zone that it's retail sale? There's a lot of ugliness about that.
Yeah, we need to tighten that aspect of it. I mean, a garage sale in front of a store, for instance, is probably not a garage sale, it's outdoor merchandising.
Right.
So we probably need to tighten that up. Would your limit on garage sales pertain also to estate sales? Are they held outside? No, but a lot of people will be handling things and going through houses. I mean, and they could be held outside. Well, and I think only 10 people are allowed inside. As long as somebody's monitoring that, yeah. Yes.
I will say one thing I think that is missing is that on the application, we don't remind people now to maintain social distancing and masks and that kind of thing. So, that's an upgrade that we can do if you decide to continue.
That makes more sense to me, to have one of the flyers that tells you what to do for cleaning and, distancing. The fact that a garage sale is outside is actually a positive.
Well, this was right next to a restaurant.
Yeah, that's, I know which one you're talking about, and that's a different topic, whether we should allow it in the business areas, like that. I agree that we need to look at the ordinance, but during the emergency, it's actually better for folks to be wandering around outside posting their materials than they are in a store or a gift shop doing the same thing. It's a contained atmosphere that is danger. That's just my.
But then that wouldn't be a garage sale, right? Because it would be inside.
I know, but that means to me that it's safer to be outside at a garage sale than it would be inside.
Can't say I disagree with your logic.
You probably should look at that definition of garage sale.
Huh?
Does finance keep track of how frequently people are applying for a garage sale?
Finance keeps track of everything.
Oh, yeah, Laura.
Yeah, there will be records on how many of these we issue and frequency and all that. And
I think you're only supposed to have 2 a year, right?
yeah, and so I'm sure they're watching that too.
Next weekend is traditionally garage sale weekend for a lot of folks.
Big limit. Shirley Park. Next door.
Well, thank you.
And we will, pass something out with the permits regarding COVID.
Definitely do that. Brandon?
Yes, we all got an email from, Kelly, the director of the HRAP, and, we were asked to, set up an appointment, or at least respond to her about, sitting down for a phone call with Rachel Hilt, and I'd done it, and she had mentioned that, she hadn't, been able to get any other responses, and I'd just like to say that my experience with her was very, very positive. She's the recipient of the Sea Grant and hasn't been able to come out here and do it because of COVID. So everything has had to be done remotely. So I would, please encourage you all to at least, respond to Kelly. And if you don't want to do it, at least let her know.
Did she want an individual?
Yes.
Individual, not as a council, but.
Yes. It took 15, 20 minutes. They were all very simple questions based on your own opinion, so.
Well, thank you for bringing it up, because
You
I
bet.
didn't read it quite. I
Yeah,
about that, yeah. Which I appreciate.
It's possible that it wasn't worded as succinctly as it could be, but I got lucky.
You got it.
Mr. Mayor, I have a couple things.
I do.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I am very concerned about, some of the size of the houses that are going up in Cannon Beach. We've got some pretty big ones, and we talked about this informally, but I would like really the city to start looking at our ordinances, regarding the size of houses that can be built on a lot of Florida area ratio. What is that? Do we have it? Because I know there's been discussion about it before. I can't remember whether it was passed or not, or maybe we should just review it and see what it is that we need to do. And then, I know that you have expressed concerns in the past about the potential for people to buy up several lots, tear down the houses or whatever building is on there and build a huge house on those lots. And I want to make sure that our ordinances restrict that. I really think we need to seriously look at what is going up in this community and get back to the more cottage type housing that we are known for. I think that the houses are just getting huge here. And I don't know what is causing that. I mean, if we have ordinances that allow that, then I really would like to see some restrictions.
Yeah.
Session?
Yes. Matter of fact, as a result of our discussion, Jeff's put something together, a PowerPoint, of course. And, it's gonna be the primary, focus of the next workshop. And, I agree with Nancy, it is important. I went through this at the last community I worked at. Once the values reach a certain height or certain level, that the land is worth more than proportionally than what you would think versus the house. And you have a community that with a high demand, people with means will come in, buy a couple of houses, 3 houses, 4 houses, and build a mega. And we really, we have some controls on that, but not what we should. And also consideration when you're talking about the cottages, we don't review in, DRB, or the Development Review Board, we don't review single-family homes, and if that's something that we want to do. So bringing that and saying, you're at a different point than you were 5, 10 years ago as a city, and what kind of, these are some of the things you may face. That's a discussion for starting next Tuesday.
Isn't there a requirement of 25% green space, which keeps a lot sort of reasonably done? How do you define green space? And I know that the council several years ago went through a whole thing about, having so much percentage of concrete driveway, for instance. And softscape? Yeah, hardscape versus landscape and so forth. And I just think we really, just the width of the house and the height of the house.
It's gotten out of control.
Yeah, it's just gotten out of control, yeah.
Well, we saw with the, houses that I would be thrilled to live in 2 or 3 of them in a row, somebody would just come and take them down, and then all of a sudden put up a bigger house, meeting all the 25% requirements and all that, but it changed the character. And then another thing that happens, you've got small house, big house, small house, or maybe, a small house in between the two, and it just changes everything. So, yes, we, based on our conversations, we're gonna have that starting next Tuesday.
Great.
Okay.
Bruce?
First of all, I think probably you're noticing that Mark Reckman has been attending some of our meetings. I would like to think because he wants to learn about management, but, actually, he has done an outstanding job, changing relationship with the city, as has Jason and as Rick. As far as working with the district, it's a whole different world, working with Mark. And, things like plan reviews and all that, and just the time I see him here coordinating with Karen, and even taking over some of our responsibilities that we just did because no one else was doing it, like maintaining the fire hydrants and things. So my hat's off, my mask is off to Mark for the great job that you're doing and changing the relationship that we've had for years. So thank you. Yes, I think that's it.
I caught a couple people painting one of the fire hydrants the other day.
Yeah.
And they were doing it totally the wrong color.
Yeah. Not only that, I think we used to paint them, but we never fixed them, and these guys are fixing them. I mean, it's.
Oh, that's even better.
Yeah, no, it's a great relationship. Thank you, Mark. Hopefully, a bunch of you have been able to go to the conference that we've had on Thursdays. I think we're probably gonna have 2 more. We have one this Thursday, one in 2 weeks. They've been great, largely locals attending, but, I'm pleased to say that, we are working with, Coaster Theater and Andrew Tonry with the, who just got his new lease, to see if we can get something going regarding, readings or something like that in the park, similar to what we have done with music. And so we're working on it. Don't know how it's gonna work out, but, there's some movement on it. And so I think that's another really cool thing, and I can see that continuing on into next season. The next thing, I wanna ask you all to, congratulate Jennifer Barrett, who has, recently selected to be the, city recorder and assistant to the city manager. She was interviewed by, Jason Scriverhorn, Kelly Ennis, and myself, and even though she was competing against 2 city manager reporters and a high-level assistant to one of the local communities, she was the unanimous choice. And I am very confident she's going to do a great job, and I can tell you part of the reason is that right now we normally have 3 people that are doing that kind of work, and we only have 1 Jen, and she's still keeping everything going. So thank you, Jen, and congratulations. I can't see her face, but she's getting red from here.
Rusty's rolling his eyes.
Yeah. Okay, that's all I have, sir. Thank you.
Okay, that's all we all have, so we are adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you, Sam.